So here's the big question. Does playing casual Warzone actually make you a better player, or is it just a way to pass time with bots and chaos? I wanted to find out for myself, so I set a challenge. Play 50 casual Warzone games. Not just for fun, but to see if I could actually improve my game. I started out slow, uploading the first 3 matches, but then decided to go all in and play the remaining 47 games over the course of just 3 days. Trust me, it was brutal. Now, before you say it, yes, I know casuals aren't competitive, but that's exactly why I chose them. With less pressure and fewer sweats, I figured it was the perfect environment to test and train real in-game skills: positioning, movement, aim, and decision making. But here's what no one tells you: playing 50 casual games doesn't automatically make you better. In fact, by game 35, I was starting to wonder if I was actually getting worse. In this video, I'm going to walk you through everything I learned from this challenge, the mistakes I made, the improvements I saw, and whether casuals actually helped me become a better Warzone player or just burned me out. You might be here because you want to know how casuals can harm your gameplay. If that is, you skip to this part. If you want to know how you can benefit from casuals, skip to this part. And if you want to know if I will recommend casuals to you, skip to this part. Why put myself through 50 casual games of Warzone? Well, the truth is, I've been playing Warzone for a while and I've always felt stuck. I'd watch other players glide through lobbies, stacking kills, snapping onto targets, rotating perfectly, and meanwhile, I was barely surviving to the final circle. My aim felt inconsistent, my movement was clunky, my decisions, half the time I was just reacting, not really thinking ahead. I knew I needed a change, but I didn't want to go the traditional ranked grind route. I wasn't trying to sweat it out or force improvement through high pressure lobbies. I wanted a controlled environment where I could test, fail, adjust, and repeat without the stress. That's where casuals came in. I figured, what if I used these bot heavy low stakes games not just to mess around, but as an actual training ground? Instead of chasing wins or kill records, I'd treat each game as a rep, a chance to work on one part of my game at a time. Want to improve my positioning? I'd plan rotations carefully and avoid ego pushes. Want to improve my aim? I'd focus on crosshair placement, centering, and sensitivity control. Want to improve decision making? I'd analyze every death, every push, and every rotation to see where I went wrong. The idea was simple: deliberate practice over mindless play, and casual lobbies gave me the space to do exactly that. But it didn't all go according to plan. Let's be honest, casual mode gets a bad rep. It's filled with bots, low skill players, and chaotic pacing. So naturally, the assumption is you're not going to get better playing in a bot lobby. And on the surface, that might seem true. But after playing 50 casual matches over 3 intense days, here's my honest take. The yes part: casual lobbies can help you improve, but only if you have a plan and treat them like practice. When I focused on one specific skill per match, centering, rotations, positioning, fight selection, I saw real growth. The reduced pressure gave me space to experiment with different settings and movement styles, test loadouts and strategies without panicking about instant death, get actual in-game reps with specific goals in mind, and perhaps most importantly, I started building confidence. Let's not ignore this. Sometimes, as a bad or newer player, you need a few dopamine wins to keep going. You need to see progress, even if it's just a clean 1v1 or a win in a bot-heavy lobby that boosts. You're not likely to get that in sweaty solos where every death feels punishing. Casuals gave me space to grow without fear. But here's where casuals can become a trap. If you hop in just to run around and shoot things, you won't get better. In fact, you might get worse. This happened to me around game 30. I got bored. I started ignoring contracts, chasing kills, rotating randomly, and suddenly I was dying before zone 4 in almost every game. The second I abandoned my strategy, everything fell apart. Casual lobbies reward bad habits, lazy rotations, overconfident ego chows, ignoring positioning. And because the punishment is low, it's easy to repeat those mistakes over and over without noticing. So no, casuals won't help you if you're just in it for fun or stat padding. The bottom line, does playing casual Warzone make you better? Yes, but only if you treat it like a training ground, not a playground. And yes, you can do this in real solos, absolutely. But let's be real, when you're still figuring things out, those high pressure lobbies can destroy your confidence. You won't even get to practice what you're trying to improve because you'll barely survive the early game. Casual mode gave me something sweaty lobbies couldn't: reps, clarity, and confidence. And as long as I had a purpose each match, I made real progress. Now here's the twist. While casuals helped me improve when I had a plan, they also revealed something much sneakier. Casuals can actually make you worse. Yep, worse, let me explain. The brain gets lazy. Casuals are filled with bots and low skill players. After a while, you start playing like them. You stop checking corners. You stop planning rotations. You start thinking you're invincible because you're wiping 3 bots at a buy station. And then the moment a real player shows up, boom, you're back in the lobby. Suddenly, all those bad habits you developed come crashing down on you. That lazy positioning you got away with 10 times before, punished. That sloppy ego chow you made out of boredom cost you the game. Casuals let you get away with things sweaty lobbies would never forgive. And if you're not careful, you'll carry those lazy habits right into ranked, resurgence, or solo BR and wonder why you're getting beamed instantly. Bots will lie to you. Here's one of the biggest problems with casuals. Bots don't behave like real players. They spawn randomly in unrealistic positions, move predictably, get confused when under fire, don't challenge intelligently, rarely reposition or pre-fire, and most of all, they don't punish your mistakes. So what happens? You land a clean kill on a bot and start thinking, hey, I'm cracked now. My centering is solid. I'm winning fights easy. But in truth, you're getting false feedback. Bots build false confidence. They feed into bad aim habit, bad positioning, bad timing. They don't expose your weaknesses. So when you walk into a real lobby, suddenly your systems fail. Your aim isn't fast enough. Your centering's off. You can't read enemy movement. And worst of all, you panic because real players don't freeze up when shot. Real players chase you down. Real players will rotate, pre-fire, jump peek, track your audio, and punish your sloppiness. Bots, they stand in the open like target dummies. Boredom equals bad decisions. Around 30 of this challenge, I hit a wall. I got bored. I got overconfident. I stopped following my plan. At first, I was dropping quiet, getting my loadout, stacking UAVs, holding good positioning, textbook Warzone. But then I started thinking, hey, it's just casuals. Let me push this guy. Let me land hard. Let me ego this sniper. And it never ended well. I was dying before Zone 4 in nearly every match. Not because the lobby was hard, but because I stopped thinking. Wasn't playing smarter anymore. I wasn't learning. I was just going through the motions, looking for dopamine hits from easy fights. And when I reviewed those matches, it was painfully obvious I was no longer improving. I was regressing. Bad habits stack up fast. Let me list just some of the bad habits I picked up. Rushing by stations without checking angles. Skipping UAVs because I just kill bots. Peeking wide with no cover. Repeating the same rotation every game. Forgetting about zone entirely. Taking lazy fights with no recon. And the wildest part, I didn't even notice I was doing most of this until I rewatched my own footage. That's the danger. Casuals let you get away with things until they don't. If I hadn't stopped to reflect, I would have carried those habits into real games and they would have gotten me punished hard. So what's the verdict? Casual lobbies can help you get better, but only if you use them with intention. They're great for learning specific skills in a low pressure environment, but they can just as easily ruin your fundamentals if you're playing without purpose. So if you want to improve using casuals, go in with a plan. Focus on why you're doing what you're doing. Don't just chase dopamine, chase development. And don't trust bots to measure your skill. Because if you let them, casuals will turn you into a monster in bot lobbies. But in real lobbies, you'll be humbled fast. So now that I've broken down all the ways casuals can trap you, let's talk about the flip side. What actually worked despite all the potential setbacks. I did improve a lot more than I expected, honestly. But here's the key. It wasn't the casuals that made me better. It was how I approached them. Let's break it down. 1. Playing with intention. I didn't just hop in and say, let's shoot stuff. I asked myself before each game, what am I working on in this match? Sometimes that meant prioritizing smart rotations into zone, focusing on getting loadout early and keeping it, practicing aggressive pushes with UAV support, tracking and controlling high ground positioning, or just working on map awareness and audio cues. This turned every match into a mini training session. It wasn't just 50 games, it was 50 chances to refine something specific. And when you have one clear goal match, you learn faster. It's like giving your brain a mission. 2. Movement got a major buff. This might be the biggest transformation of all. Before this challenge, I thought being on mouse and keyboard meant you just had to accept clunky movement. Then I remembered creators like Metaphor, watched his gameplay closely, and realized, oh, I've been selling myself short. His fluid movements, side slides, resets, quick repositions, it wasn't magic. It was good settings plus discipline. So I reworked my keybinds, adjusted my movement settings, practiced movement deliberately, and paid close attention to cover transitions. Suddenly, I wasn't just a turret with decent aim. I was actually harder to hit. And let me tell you, the first time I broke a line of sight cleanly, repositioned, and outplayed someone because of movement, that felt better than any bot wipe I ever got. 3. Smarter decision making. Warzone isn't just about gun skill. It's about decisions, thousands of them. Every second, you're answering questions like, do I push now or wait? Is that buy station safe? Should I rotate early or late? UAV now or save it for endgame? In my early games, I made a lot of random emotion-based decisions. I pushed out of boredom. I bought things I didn't need. I ego challenged fights for no reason. But by game 20, I started seeing patterns. And by game 40, I was asking better questions mid-match and getting better outcomes. For example, I stopped blindly pushing bounties. Instead, I popped UAVs first. I started taking wider rotations to avoid known hot zones. I stopped chasing kills that had no tactical value. I used vehicles more intelligently, not just as taxes. The result? More survivability, more confidence, less panic. 4. Testing loadouts and playstyles. Casuals gave me the freedom to experiment. I tried different loadouts, different perk packages, different pacing. I discovered I was more confident when running bird's eye, not just because of the extra intel, but because it helped me predict player behavior. And I figured out that I'm naturally a passive aggressive player. I like to loot smart, hold angles, get positioning, but still chase fights when I've got the advantage. Learning that about myself helped me build playstyles that actually suit me instead of copying someone else's speedrun tactics that don't feel right. 5. Reviewing my own footage, possibly the most underrated thing I did, watching my own gameplay, not just casually. I mean really watching, looking for dumb pushes, bad aim habits, missed audio cues, lazy rotations, wasted kill opportunities. That feedback loop was powerful. It hurt a little at first, seeing how many fights I could have won if I just played it better, but over time it made me smarter, calmer, and more aware. Pro tip: record your games, even if you never upload them. Just review them for yourself. It all stacked up. You don't notice these things in the moment. But by the time I hit game 45, it was obvious my movements were cleaner. My gunfights were smarter. My game sense had evolved. And most importantly, I wasn't guessing anymore. I was playing with intent, with confidence. And every fight, win or lose, started to feel like a lesson, not just a random outcome. Here's the part of the challenge nobody talks about. Not the settings, not the strategy, not even the skill gap. It's the mental stamina. See, when I started this challenge, I had a clear, focused plan. Play 50 casual games, stick to a goal, track my improvement. Simple, right? But after a while, especially after playing 47 games in just 3 days, something changed, and not in a good way. Burnout sets in by day 2. Around game 30 or so, the signs were already showing. I was rushing my rotations. I stopped checking corners. I was buying UAVs but not using them intelligently. And worst of all, I started chasing fights just to feel something. I told myself, it's casuals. Let me just have fun. But here's the problem. Just having fun became a trap. When fun replaces focus. The moment I started ignoring my goals, not practicing rotations, not thinking about positioning, everything fell apart. I died early, over and over. I stopped surviving past Circle 4 in most matches. Even my fights felt more chaotic, like I had no rhythm or strategy. It's funny. I thought playing casually would relax me. Instead, it made me careless. This was the moment I realized that consistency matters more than difficulty. It doesn't matter if the lobby is sweaty or bot filled. If you abandon your plan, you will regress. Mental tilt is real. Another thing I didn't anticipate, mental fatigue. I was grinding for hours game after game. No warm-ups, no breaks, no mental reset. Eventually, you just want to do something crazy to break the loop. You drop into high traffic areas for a quick thrill. You push gunfights, are bad ideas. You use that vehicle like you're playing GTA. You stop using cover just because, and if you're not careful, that becomes your new default even in games where you wanted to play smart, chasing dopamine over development. Let's be honest, casual lobbies are full of small dopamine hits. Wiping a squad of bots feels good. Buying back a teammate last minute, great moment. Hitting a clean snipe from a rooftop, instant rush. But those moments can trick you into thinking you're improving, when in reality, you're just feeding your brain little wins. And here's the kicker, dopamine doesn't equal development. If you're not learning, you're just treading water, or worse, building bad habits that don't work outside casuals. The takeaway, it's okay to have fun. This is a game after all. But if your goal is to get better, then just having fun can't be the plan. It has to be the byproduct of playing well. Once I realized this, I slowed things down again. I recommitted it to my goal. And you know what happened? The wins started coming back. The positioning got cleaner. I wasn't hoping for good games. I was building them. Now, after 50 games, even though they were in casuals, I did get better. And I don't just mean I survived longer or I won more gunfights. I mean I saw clear, measurable progress in specific areas that had been holding me back for years. Let's break it down. 1. Movement. This was by far the biggest transformation. Before this challenge, I used to think good movement was something exclusive to controller players. The slide cancel kings, the bunny hoppers, the ones who made every rotation look like a dance. As a mouse and keyboard player, I felt stuck, like WSD can only take you so far, right? But I was wrong. Midway through this challenge, I studied players like Metaphor, who play Mant K and have fluid movement. I tweaked my settings, refined my keybinds, and practiced sideways slides, quick peeks from cover, bunny hops to throw off aim, smooth transitions while plating. Did I master it? Not yet. But the difference between game 1 and game 50 is night and day. And the confidence I have now when repositioning mid-fight is something I never had before. 2. Game sense and decision making. This is something I improved without even realizing it, and it came from repetition and replay analysis. After every couple of games, I rewatched my footage. I'd ask, was that the best rotation? Did I need to take that fight? Could I have baited a shot before peeking? What I found was that over time, I was making smarter decisions more consistently, choosing high ground over quick loot, avoiding choke points when rotating, not chasing every red dot on the map, playing off sound cues and UAV pings. Eventually, these became automatic decisions. I wasn't forcing them anymore. They were just happening. 3. Positioning early. In this challenge, I would constantly die because I didn't respect positioning. I'd run through open fields. I'd hold low ground. I'd stay too long at hot buys. But after dying to those same mistakes over and over again, you start to learn. By the second half of the challenge, I was prioritizing cover and elevation, rotations ahead of the circle, building control in endgame zones, playing the edge instead of the center. And guess what? I lived longer, I won more fights, and I stopped getting beamed from rooftops like an NPC. 4. Combat confidence. Even though my aim is still a work in progress, I've become much more confident in gunfights. Why? Because after 50 games, many of which involved 1v1 encounters with real players, I now trust my movement, know how to disengage, can reposition when outgunned. Don't panic when I lose plates. Sure, I still miss shots, but I don't feel helpless anymore. I believe I can win, and that alone changes how I play. 5. Loadout strategy and cash flow. One underrated skill I worked on: efficiency. I stopped just looting for the sake of looting and instead played with purpose. Land contract loadout UAV. Burn a UAV to push refill with next bounty kill. Scavenger perk for extra cash. Pre-buy self revives. Keep one UAV in pocket. That loot contract intel engage refill became a cycle that gave me rhythm and purpose each match, and it removed the randomness from how I approached games. Summary: so yes, despite the flaws in casual lobbies, I came out of this challenge a better player in every way that matters.
Hostile UAV in the area.
So after 50 games of casual Warzone with bots, randomness, some real players, and a lot of chaos, the big question is, would I recommend doing this challenge to someone else? The answer, yes, but with conditions. Let me break it down. Who this challenge is for: 1, new or below average players. If you're someone who's just getting into Warzone, or like me, you've been playing for a while but never really got good, this challenge is perfect. Why? Because it gives you room to breathe. You're not getting wiped in the first 30 seconds by someone running around with a shotgun and bunny hopping on controller. You actually have time to land, loot, and learn the map. Experiment with different strategies. Practice your movement and positioning. Get your confidence up. It's a safe space for growth. And for beginners or struggling players, that's critical. 2. Players with a specific goal, this is key. If you go into casuals just to vibe, you won't improve. You'll shoot bots, get a few kills, maybe in even a game, but it won't translate to real lobbies. But if you go in with a focused goal, like today I'm working on centering, this session is all about improving rotations. I want to get better at playing aggressively. Then casual lobbies become your training ground. It's like working out with lighter weights to perfect your form before trying the heavy stuff. That's how I got better. 3. People who learn by repetition. 50 games equal a lot of reps. You'll make mistakes. You'll die in dumb ways. You'll misread the map. But that's exactly the point. With repetition, patterns start to form. You start anticipating common enemy positions. You recognize when a push is too risky. You understand what works and what doesn't. So if you're the kind of learner who benefits from doing the same thing over and over with small adjustments, this challenge works. Who this challenge is not for: 1, high-level players. If you already dominate in ranked or regular solos, this will feel like a waste of time. You'll get bored of fighting bots, feel like you're not being challenged, develop habits that won't hold up in sweatier lobbies. If you're already mechanically solid, you'll benefit more from ranked play or custom lobbies where decision making under pressure is required. 2, people without a plan. This is a big one. If you jump into casuals without any structure, just playing to pass time, you'll end up reinforcing bad habits, pushing mindlessly because it's just bots, rotating without thinking because I've got time, ignoring positioning because I can shoot my way out. Eventually, when you return to real lobbies, you'll get punished hard and wonder why your skills don't transfer. That's why I said earlier, casuals can both build and break you. Casuals as a training tool, not a crutch. Here's how I look at it now. Casual Warzone is like a flight simulator. You can use it to practice takeoffs, landings, and emergency procedures, but eventually you have to fly a real plane. The same goes for Warzone. Use casuals to refine your mechanics, build confidence, test strategies, but don't get stuck there. Final verdict: Would I recommend this 50 game casual challenge? Yes, if you're willing to treat it seriously. Yes, if you go in with purpose. Yes, if you want to build a foundation before jumping into solos or ranked. But if you just want to casually kill bots for fun, hey, go for it. Just don't expect to magically become better when it matters. Does playing Warzone casuals make you better? Yes, if you have a plan. No, if you just want to farm bots. I came out of this challenge with better movement, sharper decisions, and more confidence. If you're serious about improving, take this challenge, build a plan, stay intentional. And hey, if you enjoyed this or learned anything new, drop a like, subscribe, and follow my journey. More videos coming soon. Peace.